She's a Grammy Award-winning gospel singer and songwriter. Joining us in studio to share the importance of the word, however you can get it, especially today, is Yolanda Adams.
Hello.
Good morning. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. Okay, you have gotten so many awards, but there's a special designation today.
Gospel queen Yolanda Adams smiled through every performance, but cameras never caught what happened backstage. In 2005, after selling 10 million albums, she vanished for an entire year. The truth? She was fighting suicidal thoughts and attending weekly therapy sessions. While fans thought she was taking a break, she was actually losing $200,000 in canceled shows and battling the darkest depression of her life. But that wasn't her only secret. For over a decade, she hid a painful illness that nearly made her collapse on stage in front of 5,000 people. Yolanda Yvette Adams was born on August 27, 1961, in Houston, Texas. She was the oldest of 6 children. Her father, Major Neruda Adams, drove trucks and earned around $300 a month. Her mother, Carolyn Jean Adams, stayed home to take care of the kids. Their total income stayed below $15,000 a year. By 1969, inflation hit 5.7%, and things got harder. They lived in a tiny 2-bedroom house in Houston's 3rd Ward, where almost 30% of black families lived in poverty during the 1960s. Yolanda grew up hearing about civil rights marches and seeing the pain in her neighborhood. Her dad was gone for days at a time hauling freight across Texas, and her mom kept the family going by making the children sing hymns during dinner. That's where Yolanda's love for music began. But their money problems were serious. In 1968, unpaid bills reached $500. They couldn't afford toys or trips, and by the time she turned 9 in 1970, Yolanda was already helping her younger siblings with chores. She had to grow up fast. No one could have guessed that this little girl living in poverty would one day become the queen of gospel and sell more than 10 million albums by 2020. When she was just 3 years old in 1964, Yolanda sang Amazing Grace at her Baptist church in Houston. Her voice filled the room and left people stunned. The church had about 200 members, but people had started leaving the area, and attendance had dropped 15%. Her mother bought a $50 tape recorder in 1965 and used it to save recordings of Yolanda singing. There were over 20 tapes, including one from 1966 where she mimicked Aretha Franklin. By the time she was 5 in 1966, she stood out in the choir and performed at revivals where 500 people showed up. Elders called her Little Dynamo. The gospel scene in Houston was growing fast, with around 100 choirs by 1970. In 1967, a local pastor even predicted she would be famous. Tapes were found again in 1980, and they helped inspire her first album in 1987. Back then, the family made less than $10,000 a year, but she was already earning $5 per church gig, which helped pay for voice lessons. Those tapes now show how a child full of pain and passion grew into a woman who would one day win 4 Grammy Awards by 2005. During the 1960s, Houston's economy was going through big changes, and Yolanda's family felt it deeply. Her father's trucking income dropped from $4,000 in 1965 to just $2,800 in 1968. Strikes and factory shutdowns took away 20,000 jobs, and unemployment reached 6.5% by 1969. Between 1963 and 1970, Yolanda's family moved 5 times, always staying in the 3rd Ward. They went from cheap apartments that cost $80 a month to shared homes with leaky roofs. Rent kept going up by 25% because of riots and violence, like the 1967 clash near Texas Southern University that left 1 man dead. Most nights, dinner was just beans and rice. In 1968, Yolanda skipped lunch at school to save 25 cents every day. By age 8, she was babysitting for $1 an hour. Her mom made clothes from scraps and somehow kept the family together, even as they faced eviction twice in 1966. The population of Houston grew to 1.2 million by 1970, but almost 40% of black residents still lived in poverty. All this hardship built Yolanda's strength. In 1999, that strength showed when her hit album sold over 2 million copies. She came so close to being homeless in 1969, but church donations saved the family just in time. When Yolanda was 10 years old, her world changed. On September 15, 1971, her parents divorced after years of fighting. Major's trucking job had kept him away for days at a time, and Carolyn had to raise 6 kids alone. The court ordered $100 a month in child support in 1972, but most months it didn't arrive. The breakup hurt Yolanda deeply. She cried at night and lost 10 pounds from stress. The siblings were split up. 3 went with their mom and 3 with their dad. At the same time, Houston's divorce rate had gone up by 30%. Yolanda was crushed, but she found some healing when she joined the Southeast Inspirational Choir at age 13 in 1974. Yolanda entered Sterling High School in 1975 at age 14, the same year her father died. Music became her safe place. In 1976, she began to shine in both the school choir and drama class. She sang Aretha Franklin songs like Respect and Natural Woman, and won 3 local talent shows in 1977 and 1978. Judges were shocked that a 16-year-old could match Aretha's notes. One teacher said she belonged in a stadium, not a classroom. In 1979, she graduated after a performance that brought 500 people to their feet. She sang a mix of gospel and R&B that left everyone stunned. But high school wasn't easy. By 1977, she had grown to 6 feet tall and was bullied for her height. She turned that pain into power. Her first paid gig came in 1978 at a school event and earned her $50. Her home life was a mix of jazz on weekdays and hymns on Sundays, and that blend shaped her sound. In 1978, when she was 17, she almost quit school after being rejected from a choir for sounding too secular, but a teacher convinced her to keep going and told her she would become a star. By 1980, she was already well known in choir circles. At 13 in 1974, after her father died, Yolanda faced bullying because of her height. By 1977, at age 16, she had grown to 6 feet, and classmates called her Giraffe. They left her out of school dances, and she cried often at home. But things took a turn in 1978. At 17, she started modeling for local stores like Foley's, earning $100 per photo shoot. Her confidence grew fast. By 1979, she was 6 feet 1 inch and dreamed of modeling in Paris, a dream encouraged by her grandfather, who passed away in 1978. Instead of giving up, she modeled at church events and wore elegant dresses that shaped her future style. She won a teen beauty contest in 1979, with 200 girls competing, and shocked the judges by singing a gospel song during the talent round. In 1976, a bully tripped her and she hurt her ankle, but she didn't stay down. She starred in a school play as a tall queen and got standing ovations. Yolanda later said the bullying only made her stronger. By 1982, that strength was clear in her powerful choir performances. After graduating in 1979, Yolanda started college at Texas Southern University. She was 18 and planned to work in TV, majoring in radio and television, but music stayed close. She joined the school choir and sang at 15 events in 1980 alone. During homecoming, she performed for 1,000 people and earned $200 in tips. On weekends, she sang at churches, making $50 to $100 each time. In 1980, a choir trip to Dallas took her to a real studio where she recorded demos. In 1981, at age 20, she got vocal strain from over-singing and had to rest for 2 months, but came back even stronger. She added education to her studies by 1982 and later interned at Channel 11. That job ended in 1984 after a company buyout. That setback pushed her toward teaching. In 1982, she sang with Edwin Hawkins, leading Oh Happy Day at a local show that went viral. She began leading rehearsals by 1984, mixing gospel with urban music. Her family stood by her, coming to gigs even when money was tight. That support helped her get ready for her solo debut in 1987. In 1991, Yolanda Adams was pushing herself harder than ever. She had just recorded her second album, Through the Storm, and it came out on April 1st. She was signed with Tribute Records, and the album was produced by Ben Tankard. It reached number 9 on the Billboard Top Gospel Albums chart, and the very next year, in 1992, she won her first Stellar Award for Female Vocalist of the Year. But behind the success was something painful. During 1990, Yolanda had performed over 200 concerts. Her voice was strained so badly that doctors warned her she might need surgery. Still, she didn't stop. She recorded the album's title song while in pain. She said that's what gave the song its emotion. The album sold over 100,000 copies and helped her leave her job as a school teacher to do music full-time. In a 1992 interview, she admitted that ignoring medical advice led to 2 weeks of silence. She couldn't speak or sing at all. all. Some tour dates had to be canceled, but it worked out in the end. She made about $5,000 from royalties by 1993. On March 15, 1991, she filmed the music video in Houston with the Southeast Inspirational Choir behind her. The sound was jazz-influenced, and it surprised many gospel fans. Later, she revealed that the vocal stress caused nodules on her cords. She went through therapy in the summer of 1991, which delayed her next album. 2 years later, on October 19, 1993, she released Save the World, her third album. It reached number 2 on Billboard's gospel chart and won 3 Stellar Awards in 1994, including Album of the Year. But this time, the surprise came from a bold move. Yolanda called Stevie Wonder out of the blue and asked him to play on a song called The Good Shepherd. He agreed and played harmonica for free. The track was recorded on June 5, 1993, in Los Angeles. It was a big crossover moment, but not everyone was happy. In 1994, Bishop T.D. Jakes criticized the collaboration during a sermon. He said it watered down the message. 20 churches boycotted her 1994 tour. Still, the album sold 15,000 copies by 1995. In a Jet magazine interview from November 15, 1993, Yolanda defended her choice. She said the song reached over 1 million people who didn't usually listen to gospel. Some songs even had Latin rhythms, which shocked traditional listeners. The album also won a Dove Award in 1994. The duet with Stevie Wonder climbed to number 45 on the Hot R&B Singles Chart in 1994. Yolanda admitted in 1995 that the backlash led to depression, but it also helped her gain fans around the world. By October 3, 1995, she dropped More Than a Melody, still under Tribute Records. It sold over 500,000 copies and went gold by 1997. It peaked at number 4 on the Billboard Top Gospel Albums. One of the hits, Gotta Have Love, featured Tony Terry and was recorded on July 20, 1995 in Nashville. The song reached number 10 on the R&B charts in 1996, but behind the scenes, Yolanda was fighting a tough legal battle. On January 15, 1996, she sued Tribute Records. She said they were holding back $100,000 in royalties from 1993 to 1995. Court papers showed the label was taking 30% more than they should have. In 1997, she won the case. She received $15,001 and got rights to her old catalog. Because of this, her tour plans were delayed by 6 months. In a 1996 Essence interview, she said the lawsuit nearly broke her financially. She was $8,000 in debt. The album also had a song with B.B. Winans called What About the Children, written in 1994. She even did a cover of Fly Like an Eagle, which mixed pop with gospel and surprised her fans. The whole issue started when Diadem merged with Benson in 1996. The merger disrupted payments. Her court victory later gave hope to 10 more gospel artists who filed lawsuits by 1998. Her biggest moment came in 1999 with the album Mountain High, Valley Low. It came out on September 21st under Elektra Records. It became her best-selling album. By 2009, it had sold more than 1.3 million copies. It went platinum in 2000. At the Grammy Awards on February 21, 2001, it won Best Contemporary Soul Gospel Album. It was her first Grammy. One of the biggest songs, Open My Heart, reached number 10 on the R&B charts in 2000. She wrote it on March 5, 1999, after losing her road manager in a car crash on Interstate 10 near Houston in 1998. He was 35 years old and died instantly. Yolanda told Oprah in a 2000 interview that she was deeply depressed after the accident. That's where the song came from. The album's production was expensive. It cost $500,000 and was produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. They worked on it in Minneapolis from April to July 1999. Another hit, Fragile Heart, was also about her late friend. It went to number 1 on the gospel charts. The album entered the Billboard 200 at number 24. That was a big deal for a gospel album. It attracted 2 million new fans who weren't regular churchgoers. There were plagiarism claims, but they were dismissed in court in 2001. She toured 150 cities and made $2 million from it. During the 1990s, she performed more than 500 shows. Her first big international show was in Tokyo Tokyo on July 12, 1997. She performed at the Tokyo Dome in front of 15,000 fans. But something unexpected happened. About 200 local fans stood up during her set and protested. They held signs that said, "Respect Japanese gospel," and chanted against her American-style songs. They thought her R&B and jazz sound was too far from traditional hymns. Security removed them after 10 minutes, but it delayed the concert by 30 minutes. The protest made headlines in Japan's Asahi Shimbun on July 13th. After the show, Yolanda apologized but explained that her style was meant to connect cultures. The protest came from a flyer mistranslation that called her set list a secular invasion. Even with the tension, the Asia tour earned $300,000. She later performed in Seoul and Singapore. In a 1998 interview with Billboard, she admitted the event caused her anxiety, but her album sales in Japan rose by 5,000 copies. From 1990 to 1999, her tours covered 40 states and 10 countries and earned $1.5 million. In 2001, she released the album Believe on December 4th through Elektra Records. It was her 8th studio album and her last one under Elektra before the label closed. It sold over 700,000 copies and went gold. In January 2002, it had its strongest sales week, moving 67,000 copies. One of the main songs, Never Give Up, was written in response to the September 11th attacks. Another track, Faux Show, featured Karen Clark Sheard, her first song after surviving a near-death experience. Yolanda performed Never Give Up at several major events, including NBA games. It helped the album reach number 42 on the Billboard 200 and number 1 on the gospel chart. Critics said the album's production didn't show her full vocal power. Still, she said in a 2005 interview that she believed in it despite industry pressure. Her Oprah appearance helped promote it, and many songs became known as anthems of hope. By 2019, the album had helped her reach nearly 10 million total album sales. In 2005, she started her own radio show called The Yolanda Adams Morning Show. It aired in more than 20 markets. The show focused on faith, love, and forgiveness. It gave gospel fans something clean and inspiring to listen to. She also spoke openly about mental health, which wasn't common in church circles at the time. Even though some sponsors may have pulled out, it was never confirmed. Her foundation, The Voice of an Angel, helped students from 9th grade through college. By 2007, she had 4 Grammys and was still going strong. She laughed with her daughter during interviews and always told people to stay determined. She spoke publicly about healing from abuse, and this made her even more relatable. By then, she had sold over 10 million albums and was called the Queen of Contemporary Gospel. In 1997, Yolanda Adams thought she had finally found peace when she married former NFL player Timothy Crawford Jr. She had already survived an abusive first marriage to Troy Mason from 1987 to 1990, a painful time filled with physical and emotional wounds. But this new chapter didn't last. By 2004, after 7 years, her world shattered again. She found out that Timothy had secretly taken money from their shared accounts and poured it into risky investments without telling her. Those deals failed badly and left Yolanda with $500,000 in debt. It wasn't just the money. What followed was a heartbreaking custody battle over their daughter Taylor, born in 2001. Yolanda had to face the courtroom alone while trying to rebuild her life. Court papers later showed that Timothy's behavior during their marriage was stressful and sometimes cruel. He argued over money and tried to control her career. And Yolanda described the whole experience as a dark season that tested everything she believed in. She finally won primary custody of Taylor, but the damage stayed with her. From that point on, she promised herself never to mix love and money again. Fans never knew the truth until leaks in 2004 revealed the painful details she had kept private. Right after the divorce in 2004, Yolanda entered one of the hardest battles of her life. In 2005, she sank into deep depression. The weight of betrayal, the pressure of raising a child alone, and the fear of being judged by her gospel community became too much. For a full year, she disappeared from the public eye. She didn't tour, didn't record, didn't even speak publicly. Behind the scenes, she was quietly attending weekly therapy sessions to fight off suicidal thoughts. The depression brought fatigue, sadness, and confusion. She even started questioning her purpose in life, even though her 1999 album, Mountain High, Valley Low, had brought her so much success. She stayed silent about it all, fearing that people in the church world would judge her for needing help. It wasn't until 2010 that she finally finally opened up. During that time, she lost around $200,000 in canceled shows, but she came back in 2006 with new strength, pouring her pain into music. Fans were shocked when they learned the truth. While Yolanda had seemed strong and unshaken on stage, she had been quietly fighting to survive behind closed doors. Then, in 2010, just when things seemed stable, Yolanda was hit again. This time, it was someone she trusted deeply, her manager. During a routine audit in June of that year, she discovered $150,000 was missing from earnings tied to her radio show, the Yolanda Adams Morning Show, which had been airing since 2007. The manager had forged checks and made secret transfers, stealing money for 2 years without Yolanda knowing. To cover the sudden loss and mounting legal fees, she sold her Houston home. She had bought it in 2002 for $800,000, but let it go for just $600,000 to get quick cash. After filing a lawsuit in September 2010, she only got back $80,000. The rest was gone. This betrayal forced her to bring in forensic accountants and rebuild her team from scratch. She kept most of it quiet to protect her image, but inside she was shaken. From that moment on, she began speaking out about financial literacy, warning others in the industry not to make the same mistakes. In 2015, trouble came back once again. Her ex-husband, Timothy Crawford Jr., returned, this time demanding more time with Taylor, who was now 14. On March 15th, they were back in a Houston courtroom. Shocking records unsealed during the case exposed verbal abuse Yolanda had endured back in 1998, including moments where he reportedly called her worthless during arguments about money. One incident was so traumatic, she suffered a miscarriage in 2002. Yolanda argued that he had barely been involved as a father. In 2014 alone, he missed 12 out of 15 scheduled visits. The court battle lasted 6 months and cost Yolanda $50,000 in legal bills. On September 20th, 2015, she won again. She kept full custody, and the judge ordered supervised visits for Timothy. Fans were stunned. Yolanda had always kept Taylor out of the public eye, but now they saw the strength it took to raise her daughter, run a career, and fight private wars all at the same time. In a 2018 interview, Yolanda dropped a truth that no one saw coming. She had been battling fibromyalgia since 2008. The chronic illness brought pain, exhaustion, and tight muscles that never fully went away. It had started when she was 47, but she kept performing without ever letting fans know. One concert in Atlanta on June 15, 2012, nearly broke her. Her legs were in so much pain she almost collapsed in the middle of the show, but she finished the 2-hour set in front of 5,000 people, smiling the whole time. She managed her illness with therapy, diet changes, and medication. In 2009, she even gave up gluten. For 10 years, she hid it all to avoid being seen as weak. By 2018, she was 57 and finally ready to speak out. She wanted people to know the truth, especially those silently dealing with their own pain. From 2008 to 2018, she performed over 200 concerts, all while hiding how much she was hurting. That secret battle made her a symbol of strength and faith. In 2011, after just 4 years since her last album, Yolanda released Becoming on May 3rd. It was only available at Walmart and had 11 tracks lasting just over 40 minutes. The album did well, hitting number 4 on Billboard's gospel songs with the single Be Still. It reached number 99 on the Billboard 200 and number 3 on the top gospel albums chart. Despite its success, the album's limited release hurt its sales. Still, it earned her major award nominations and her 4th Best Gospel Artist win. Some fans thought she had been blacklisted from the industry, but that wasn't true. She had left Elektra Records on her own. The real 13-year gap came after this album, not before. Songs like Living Proof and Not Giving Up touched on personal struggles, including her divorce in 2004. This project showed her strength once again, using music to heal and inspire. In 2022, she shocked fans again by stepping into acting. On May 19th, she made her debut on the BET Plus series Kingdom Business, playing Danita Jordan, a gospel superstar with dark secrets. The show, produced by Kirk Franklin and Devon Franklin, revealed the hidden drama behind the gospel world. Yolanda played a woman trying to protect her empire while facing betrayal, just like her own past. Her performance stunned audiences. The series was renewed for a 2nd season on November 2nd, 2023. Guest stars like Tamar Braxton and Kirk Franklin joined the cast. Although she she didn't get an NAACP nomination, people saw a new side of Yolanda. She proved that she wasn't just a singer. She could act, too, and do it with power and depth. On September 13, 2024, Yolanda finally ended the long wait with her first solo album in 13 years. Sunny Days had 15 tracks and powerful collaborations with Donald Lawrence, Sir the Baptist, and Terry Hunter. The lead single, Church Doors, came with remixes and a bold message of hope. She performed it live on the Tamron Hall show, stunning everyone. The songs didn't directly talk about Steve Harvey or any specific incident, but they sent a clear message to critics. She poured her real-life pain and healing into every lyric. This album came just as she was heading out on the reunion tour with gospel legends like Kirk Franklin and Marvin Sapp. Fans couldn't believe the voice they missed for over a decade was back and stronger than ever. In 2025, Yolanda is 64 and stronger than ever. The reunion tour, launched in September 2024, included 33 dates across the country. By October, 20 of those shows had sold out, and ticket sales crossed $10 million. But in the middle of it all, she revealed a heartbreaking truth. Her fibromyalgia had flared up again. 2 concerts in Detroit and Kansas City on September 15th and 17 had to be canceled. She was in so much pain, she couldn't even leave bed, let alone sing. Still, she pushed forward. She used the pain as fuel, inspiring others not to give up. Since the reveal, her album streams went up by 40%. Yolanda turned what could have been a breakdown into a moment of victory. In early 2025, Yolanda announced she had signed a memoir deal with HarperCollins, planning to release the book in 2026. The book will tell stories fans have never heard before. One chapter will focus on her 2000 divorce from Tim Crawford. Another will expose how she was blacklisted in the late 1990s after refusing a record deal that asked her to tone down her faith. She lost millions of dollars and spent 2 years with no work. In a YouTube interview from January 15, 2025, she said the pain helped her write the album Believe, which sold 500,000 copies. The memoir comes with a $1.2 million advance, and some chapters have already leaked online. In it, she promises to name names and share everything she went through, so that young women in music can avoid the same traps. Her daughter Taylor is now 23 and walking beside her mother not just as family, but as a business partner. In June 2024, they launched a fashion line called YA Curves. It was inspired by a moment in 2001 when Yolanda's album cover was criticized for being too revealing. People in the church called her dress too sexy. Even Steve Harvey had to defend her on air. That moment shaped her. The clothing line offers sizes from 0 to 24 and features bold pieces like capes and curve-hugging suits. Some outfits cost $150. The first month brought in $500,000 in sales, with 10,000 pieces sold. Buttons on the clothes carry quotes about strength and self-love. The brand is now worth over $2 million and plans to launch purses by 2026. Together, mother and daughter are turning past pain into power. In February 2025, Yolanda dropped another surprise. She said she might retire from touring by 2026 to focus on acting. She hinted at playing Aretha Franklin in a big biopic set for 2027. In fact, the idea came after a tribute performance at the Grammys in January 2025, where she stunned everyone. The Franklin estate reportedly offered her $5 million. Yolanda is now filming seasons 3 and 4 of Kingdom Business, starting in March 2026. That will take up 7 months in Georgia. She admitted that after 30 years on the road and 33 concerts in 2024 alone, her body needs rest. But she's not stepping away from the spotlight. She's just changing stages.